Howdy there, Bronco fans. We got Chris in the house, Shad. This is Bronco Planet, and we are rolling into Week 13, Chris. A lot of good things happening so far. We're on a 6-game winning streak. We got Tampa Bay coming to Denver. What concerns you about this team? What aren't you concerned about? Tell me your thoughts real quick.
You know, we've looked through all the numbers. We've gone through all the stats. The passing game, while the numbers look good, not a huge concern in my mind. The concern here is, can you stop Doug Martin? You look through the Broncos schedule, only 3 times have they allowed a 100-yard rusher. 2 of those games were losses, and the other one was, to be honest, a pretty ugly win against Kansas City. I think if Doug Martin is in double digits and not triple digits, this is a win on Sunday.
I agree with you. And he's ranked 4th, I think,
Fourth
in the NFL.
league.
He's over 1,000 yards, quick. Wishing he was on your fantasy team like mine, but hey, some of us have that insight. But yeah, I agree with you. You know, I think also it's important for us, the Tampa Bay defense, extremely tough against the run. They rank number 1.
Yeah.
But against the pass, now Peyton Manning fans get excited here, ranked 32, and that's before they lose Eric Wright for drug use.
Yeah, and Akeem Talib, they trade, right? They trade him to the Patriots. So some vulnerabilities on the back end of that defense. If you're Decker or Thomas or Stokely, I think you're sitting in meetings this week.
Yes,
looking to pad your own fantasy stats.
Exactly. So 2 of their starting cornerbacks, 1 to New England, 1 out for performance-enhancing drugs. Looks like a good setup for Peyton Manning. And I'm telling you, the Broncos got to get rolling here because, to be honest, right, we've lost to 3 playoff teams already this year. We're beating the teams we should beat. Although, you know, New Orleans, Cincinnati, tough. We got to start getting some momentum before the playoffs start. Really,
Shad, between here and the end of the season, there's 2 ball games that are circled. I think if you're a Bronco fan, and that's this Sunday, and that's the game against the Ravens. And if Denver shows up, those are going to be the closest thing we get to playoff football until it's one and done in the playoffs.
Well, we don't like one and done. We've been there. Well, actually, we got just a little bit past that last year, but it was pretty much one and done. Anyway, it's time to recognize. You know what time it is. It's time to give out prize. It is. Prize Monkey.
Awesome.
Prize Monkey. That monkey's funky.
Say what?
Prize Monkey. That monkey's funky.
I gotta love the Prize Monkey and Bill Sports Collectibles, who hooks us up all the time. Take care of the monkey, and we take care of the fans. So, Chris, we're giving away 3 prizes. We got some terrible Bronco towels, and we've got some Bronco Planet shirts. Name our 3 winners. All they did is tell us what they're thankful for over the Thanksgiving holiday. Probably our most response so far this year. So, thank you, everybody. Great insight. A lot of nice comments about the show, the Broncos.
Perfect.
But we picked 3.
We took 3. Steven Stewart, Dustin Venn, and Robert Miller.
Not to be confused with Roger Miller, a little king of the road. That's
or John Miller, my father-in-law.
It's very true. Well, he can't win, you know.
Right.
Family members, not cool. But speaking of family members, I don't know if you folks know this, but Chris's dad, legendary professor at the University of Denver. So in his honor today, I say it's time to roll out some grades. We're at week 13.
Yeah.
John Elway and team went out and got some free agents. And I think it's time. We've had enough games on our belt to start giving them grades. So a little bit earlier, we had
Let me tell you one thing that I learned from Dr. Carpenter.
Okay.
He was not a fan of the grade inflation. You tell the truth. When it comes to grades, you tell the truth, and that's what we're going to tell you.
Well, I love starting off with the A's. Not that it ever happened in my career in school, but hey, we got some great A's with this team John Elway put together. Let's start right at the top. This is a no-brainer. Probably the MVP, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning on pace right now for 4,700 yards. There are only 3 quarterbacks in Bronco history that have thrown for over 4,000 yards in a season. The record being Jay Cutler, I think in 2008 with 4,500 some yards. Peyton Manning going to beat that record. Now we have only 2 quarterbacks in Bronco history that have thrown for 27 touchdowns. That's John Elway and Jake Plummer. Peyton Manning sitting here with 5 games to go with 26 touchdowns. So another record heading towards Peyton Manning. Lastly, Brian Griese. We're throwing out some old names here. Brian Griese led all Bronco quarterbacks in their history with a 67% completion percentage. Peyton Manning right now at 68%. So really, his first year, the questions about his arm comes in, could likely set the record for yardage, touchdowns, and completion percentage. I think that's an A. Oh, I love this A because it's a hard-working A that took a lot of effort. It starts with Brandon Stokely. Brandon Stokely in the offseason, part of the whole package, the entourage that ends up luring Peyton Manning here. Don't think that that wasn't a factor when you got a good friend that's caught a lot of passes. You go hang out with him at his house. You throw balls with him. I mean, here he is eating Hot Pockets on his couch, and now here we are, 13 games into the season. He's got 5 touchdowns, 449 yards. He's a great influence on Eric Decker, Demaryius Thomas. He's clutch. Brandon Stokely, A across the board. Now, this is an A that came out of nowhere. This is like the midterm that all of a sudden took a bad grade to a good grade. Dan Copen. I mean, when Elway made this move, I thought, hey, it makes a little sense, but we had like a couple backup centers, and lo and behold, we go get a center that's got all this years of NFL experience. He's played in a similar offense. He's played with Tom Brady, and then J.D. Walton breaks his foot. I mean, Elway is like Notre Dame here. I can't believe how great of a move this is, the Denver Broncos. Sure, we miss J.D. Walton. He's part of that nucleus of that young team. But Dan Copen is an A and has been so crucial for the Broncos' run right now.
Shad, perfect. The A's, love them. Now we're getting a little bit more into my comfort zone, the B's. I didn't always want to work hard enough to get the A, but these were guys that Elway picked up that were solid contributors. Going to start on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to take 2 guys and put it into one, and that's the tight end position. Jacob Tamme and Joel Dreesen. These guys have done an outstanding job this year. They've done exactly what we needed them to do. 67 catches, 613 yards, 6 touchdowns. If you combine their stats and make them a single player, they're going to rank 4th in the NFL. I think go back, if kids, you want to get on the Google and see what Denver Bronco tight ends did last year. Trust me when I tell you this is a significant upgrade. They've done an outstanding job. It's the first time since Shannon Sharp, right? Shannon Sharp, that we've had a viable threat at the tight end position. She had another guy that's been a solid addition on the defensive side of the ball to the linebacker core is Keith Brookings out of Georgia Tech, long time in the league. He's brought a maturity and a run-stopping ability to that defense, 37 tackles. He's forced to fumble, but more than anything, it's a calming influence on that side of the ball. When DJ went out earlier in the year with his problems, that linebacking core became very young, very fast. Brookings has been an outstanding addition from the Dallas Cowboys, and more than anything, it's made the Cowboys worse. Going to stay on the defensive side of the ball. Tell me if there's not a guy that's happier with his free agent move than Justin Leonard. You leave the Jets and the circus that's become, and you come to the Broncos and the upward trajectory of this program. He's been a great addition to the back end of that defense. The numbers aren't huge, only 2 interceptions, but that's more than any other safety on the team. And here's the other thing. He's a sure-handed punt returner. We love Trendon Holiday. We love the ability to break one and get to the end zone. Don't forget, he's put the ball on the ground a couple of times this year. As games get closer and this team makes a run into the playoffs, you're going to see Jim Leonard return more and more punts. Sure-handed punt returner. That's the biggest addition to this team. Look, the Broncos went out in the draft and made a great pickup in the second round in Derek Wolfe. The guy they brought in to kind of mentor him has been just as important. That's CU's own Justin Bannon. Regardless of the grease fire that's going on in Boulder right now, this guy's been a great pickup. He brings a maturity and solid leadership to the defensive side of the ball. The run defense is so much better. He's got 38 tackles this year, and it's the perfect guy to take Derek Wolfe, bring him under his wing, and show him the ropes. He's been a great addition to the defense. Hey, let's talk some special teams, right? There's 3 phases to the game. Let's hand out some B letter grades in the special teams game, and that has got to go to Trendon Holiday. This has been a great pickup. I know some of you kids at home aren't going to know what the guy we're talking about, but Shad, I know you're a fan of number 80 out of Minnesota, Rick Upchurch. Okay, there was a time where every time Upchurch was back there to field a punt, we all thought there's a chance this one is going back. That's the exact same electricity this guy brings. Only 3 guys in the NFL have a punt return and a kickoff return for a touchdown. One of them is Trendon Holiday. And I'll give you one more thing. I've done this once before on the show. He'll have one more return touchdown before the season's over.
Well, as long as my kids aren't watching this part, C's aren't all that bad. All right, Mike Adams is going to have to get a C, folks. Now, I know you're saying a lot of people like Mike Adams. It's definitely been an upgrade in that Brian Dawkins was late in his career, right, and was not getting to receivers as quick. But the bottom line is Mike Adams is not doing anything spectacular. If you watch Bronco Planet on a regular basis, sure, he doesn't get burned for the long one, but he doesn't make very many spectacular plays. To give you a little bit of context to that, I looked it up. There are 65 defensive backs in the NFL that have more interceptions than Mike Adams and Raheem Moore combined. So Mike Adams, not too bad, not too good, just in between.
Well, now we're getting to that area we don't like to be in. And Danny, I know you're comfortable going here, and that's the D letter grades. These are guys that honestly, John likes to get out and swing and hit the little white ball and play some golf. I think if you were to be honest with Mr. Elway, he'd ask for a mulligan on a couple of guys. Let's start in the secondary. It's been better this year, right? It's been better this year. When we heard Tracy Porter, we all think, interception, touchdown, Super Bowl, and we had one early in the year. And we haven't had much else since then. Frankly, the younger guys on the back end have been playing much better than Porter. There's been some injury issues. There's been some work ethic questions. This is a one-year contract, and honestly, I'd be betting this contract ends and we part ways with Mr. Porter. This is one I think John would like to have over. We never want to be the bearer of bad news on Bronco Planet. So when we sat down with the Brain Trust to put these grades together and Shad brought up Manny Ramirez getting a D, I thought, are we talking Boston Red Sox Manny Ramirez? Are we talking Dodger PED Manny Ramirez? And then he told me that we were talking about offensive lineman Manny Ramirez. And sadly, this is where this letter grade D is accurate. The offensive line has had a couple of holes. We already brought you Dan Copeland, who's been a great pickup. This is probably on the other side. He's been beaten, a couple of times every time he's in there. This is not one of the better moves we've made on the offensive line. A D for Manny Ramirez. Both Manny Ramirez's.
Well, it's time to get to the bottom of the list and hang out with the flagpoles, the old Fs here. Someone's got to do it. So let's start. We have a few Fs to give to John Elway. Let's start with Drayton Florence. I kind of got excited when I heard this name. This guy's been in the NFL for a while. I think he had 17 career interceptions and doesn't even make it past the preseason. This guy was a bomb in camp, was a bomb in the preseason. I think the Lions or someone picked him up. He played like 4 games, got hurt. That's an F, Big John. Now, moving along, I hate to really bag on my fellow Coloradoans, and this particular player played at Colorado State University, a quarterback there, but come on, Caleb Haney. I know you got to get some experience, but when John Elway said we have no plan B, he was right, because Caleb Haney is a 0. That's an F. Unproductive in camp, unproductive again in the preseason. And as a guy who doesn't have a lot of hair, when you have a lot of hair, you expect those people to wear it right. He's got it all slick back, dorky looking. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reaching. Bottom line, the guy is an F. All right, and finishing out our Fs, and I hate to give this one out, but this has been the most puzzling of all the grades that we've had to give. Andre Bubba Caldwell comes in. People are excited. A former speedster. He'd been hurt a little bit. He comes in, and I think he's had over 1,000 yards in his past, 7 or 8 touchdowns, and has 0 receptions. I don't get it. We have Matt Willis out there who's been yelled at in the head shake by Peyton Manning at least 5 times this year, has not done anything really good, and yet we can't see Andre Bubba Caldwell. So I don't know what's happening at camp. I don't know if he popped off to somebody. I don't know if he's not working hard. I don't know if he, has got bad breath. Something's happening over there. But Andre Caldwell is getting no playing time, 0 receptions, and for a free agent, that's got to be an F.
So there you go. As my wise father, Dr. Carpenter, used to say, there's the grades. We tell you the truth. There's no inflation. Average out those grades, kids, and you've got a 3.2 GPA. Danny, I know you would have been pleased with that, but for me and Shad, we're going to try to bump that up a little bit. So we want to give Elway a little bit of extra credit this year, and that's going to come in one more key pickup that we don't want to go unnoticed, and that is Jack Del Rio. It's been a revolving door at that D coordinator position, and now Del Rio comes in not just with the great hair, but the game plans have been fantastic. The defense has been outstanding. Look at some of the running backs this year that Denver has held under 100 yards. Ryan Matthews twice, Michael Turner early in the year with 40 yards, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis with under 50 yards. They've done a great job. As we know, playoff football means we're going to run the ball more. This defense has got to be stout against the run. They have looked fantastic the last couple of weeks, and you can all thank that to Jack Del Rio. So what we've done, a little bit of extra credit there, is going to bring that GPA up. 3.2, which is kind of in that solid B range, B plus range. Here at Bronco Planet, we're pleased to tell our good friend John Elway that we've given you an A- on your first off season. I think you've done an outstanding job. Of course, you've got to weight these grades, right? Not all free agents are equal. Certainly, Tracy Porter is not equal to Peyton Manning. You give that Peyton Manning a pickup, you weight that a little bit. We're very comfortable and very happy that our close friend John Elway comes out of his first offseason with an A grade.